everybody. We are back today with Brandy of Brandy Astrology to do part 1. On Brandy's channel, there will be part 2. This is part 1 of the Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 disappearance, the astrology surrounding it. And this video will be looking at the flight takeoff chart and the time the aircraft last had communication with air traffic control. And then on Brandy's channel, we will be looking at when the media statement was made that the plane had disappeared, and look at the mapping about where maybe this plane could be found. Anyway, just some quick things about this case, just real fast. The flight took off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport on March 8th of 2014 at 12:42 a.m. The flight was supposed to land in Beijing, China, about 6 or so hours after takeoff. The flight last communicated with air traffic control at 1:21 a.m. while the plane was over the South China Sea. The flight was tracked for another hour, going off course. It was going more west than it should have been. There were 239 people on board, 227 passengers, 12 crew members. It is a very weird case, a very tragic case. They have found debris from the plane. What was it, like 2015 or so, or like a little bit after that, they found pieces of it in the ocean or wash up. I can't remember where some of it washed, but yeah. Just a very weird and tragic thing to occur. Yes. And I'm going to just pull up Wikipedia in case we have any questions along the way. So that's why I'm looking down at my phone for just a second. But yes, I want to say a year or more after it disappeared, the debris was washed ashore. Okay. And this is because this case is so fucking weird, it has fueled a whole bunch of theories as to what happened, what maybe happened to the plane. Now, I mean, I don't necessarily believe in all of the conspiracy theories, but I definitely entertain them just because why the fuck not? Yes. So this will be something that will also kind of different theories kind of go into those according to the chart, what kind of might make sense, what really doesn't make any sense. I think some of them don't make any sense. But yeah, should we go ahead and pull it? Yeah. And I just want to say, I see real quick, it says several pieces of debris washed ashore in the Western Indian Ocean during 2015 and 2016. Many of these were confirmed to have originated from Flight 370. So yes, confirmed. Which makes sense since the plane was going that more west of where so it makes sense. Yeah. Let's look at the charts. Okay. Let's see here. We'll go to photos. Hopefully I'll pull the right fucking chart. Because you never know with me. Okay. I think it's this one. Okay. Yay. It is. All right. So this is the chart for when takeoff happens at 12:42 a.m. What stands out? Wow. Well, we got Sagittarius. Okay, there's a few things. Sagittarius ascendant, where you get country to country travel, going to a foreign land, represented by Jupiter in the 8th house of death in a water sign of Cancer. Yep. Co-ruled by that moon in Gemini sitting on the cusp of the descendant. That bothers me. Yeah. Yeah. That bothers me. It's interesting. With the descendant being like, I don't know, where the chart sets, and can sometimes be things that we ignore or don't really want to fuck with. It can be open enemies too. Can be. Yeah. Certainly could be. Yeah, there's sign of Gemini, ruled by Mercury in the 3rd house of communications. In an air sign of Aquarius. Yeah, you had brought this up before we hit record that did they know, was something not working correctly, or That's what I'm wondering. And not like necessarily in like some sort of nefarious way, but like, I don't know, was there something going on with the communication with the plane? And it might have been something minor that they thought was minor, or something just going on that maybe they just kind of ignored or didn't want to fuck with, or thought we'll fuck with it later.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking out loud here. You got that moon in the 6th house where we find service and labor. I don't know. I'd have to dive more into this. I wonder if there was something that was worked on, or some sort of maintenance that was done, maybe done incorrectly or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's possible. Gemini's also very quick. Maybe it was done too fast.
Gemini also, and I'm a Gemini, so I can say this. We're just thinking out loud on theories. I'm not saying this is what happened. But Gemini is very much a sign of, if I don't know how to do it, I'm going to do it anyway, fake it till we make it, or I'll figure it out. Like, you know, it's just saying, it doesn't matter if we know how to do something, if we have the expertise or not, we do it anyway, you know? That is really speculation here. I'm just kind of going into the signs, what it could mean.
Yeah, I could see how. Yeah. You know, it's also the open enemies thing that you mentioned. And with that moon being so close to the descendant, right? You could read it in the 7th house too. There's also, you know, there are theories out there that the plane was like fucked with on purpose. Now, I'm not really seeing, I will say this though, I'm not really seeing connections with the planets involved. You know what I mean?
Yes. I will say, my thinking from what we've seen with forensic astrology, if something's fucked with, if something's messed with, if there's some sort of I don't know what to say, or bad intent and something done purposely, I would expect to see a Mars, maybe a Pluto, maybe Saturn. What's interesting when we look at the mapping is the Mars line.
Okay.
So that'll be in part 2, but Mars does come up when we're looking at mapping and these sorts of things. So I don't know.
Mars is also retrograde here in Libra.
In a detriment. Yeah, it's in Mars does, talking forensically, Mars not great in Libra.
It's also, okay, if you want to bring, I'm gonna bring Mars, but it's kind of close to the Shapley attractor, which is like, I really hadn't thought about that too much here, exactly how that plays. I did notice it though.
It may not, this is if we follow a theory. But yeah, it is right by the North Node.
Yes, it is.
But it's in the 11th house. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't looking at Mars until I was playing with the mapping. And then I was like, okay. Because the area where they're searching, or where they have searched, I should say that, is on the Mars line.
Okay. Maybe with the, I wonder if with the retrograde motion, if they should go back and search that area again.
And they have a couple times. Okay. I going by memory, I think the latest was 2018.
Okay.
But yeah.
That's interesting though, that the Mars line comes up so much with the mapping.
I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, it made me had to go back to the chart and look at Mars and what is Mars doing? You know, the most obvious is the north and south node there, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm But we can discuss. I just say, I don't know if I'm on the theory that the plane was messed with. I don't, but maybe, I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it seems more possible than some of the other ones, I guess.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
What else stands out about this particular chart?
Well, when we're discussing something like a disappearance, which this is, a plane has not been found, it's concerning that the luminaries, the sun and the moon, are in the bottom half of the chart.
Yeah.
You know, the moon is trying, to have a little light there, but it's not. It's in the 6th house now, below the descendant, barely. But the sun is right there in the 4th house in Pisces, another water sign that has no boundaries. I'm not confident it's going to be found at least anytime soon.
Yeah, I noticed that too with this one. Like, I was like, oh,
Not saying, never say never, but this is a poor testimony of something that will come to light or that will be found.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And you also have Neptune right on the 4th house cusp. It looks like it's in the 3rd house. It technically is by a few minutes, but right on the door of the 4th house. Neptune is also very watery, but it's very foggy. It's very murky. I don't know if we'll get clarification on what happened here.
Yeah, I'm not super. Yeah, I don't really think we probably will. At least not anytime soon, like you said.
Yeah. But I'm not saying that's what'll happen. I'm just saying, in astrology, that's just not a good testimony that it will. So you do have Saturn in its joy in the 12th house in the sign of death. I don't know. I know like any mystery has like wild theories. It's just human nature, right? I don't know what theories are out there, but this chart is very deathy.
Yeah, it is. It really, really is. Even with like one of the rulers of the 4th house in the 8th too, like that. There's just a lot of death shit.
Yeah. Saturn in the 12th, the ascendant ruler and 4th house ruler in the 8th, in water signs. The plane is assumed to be in water. Debris has been washed ashore. So I don't know what theories are out there. I just want to say this is a death chart.
Yeah, it is. It is. There are a bunch of, there are a whole bunch. I know that we probably won't get to all of them. But there are a whole bunch of theories out there. Let's see. I did notice some fixed stars on this. That I wrote down. The moon, I believe, was close to one. It was closest to this one at 5 degrees Gemini. It's like within 1.5 degrees. Scandal, violence, disgrace, and imprisonment. That one popped through. And then there was also one at, let me see. I think there was one near Mercury too. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so Mercury being the ruler of the descendant. There's one at 20 degrees, 12 minutes Aquarius. Destructiveness, uncontrollable temper, malevolence. Which is, kind of, I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting anyway.
It is. I'm sorry, I'm stuck on the moon one with the violence. What's interesting is the moon rules the 8th house and it's in Jupiter's detriment there. I don't mean to get graphic here, but this is where my morbid curiosity kind of takes off. I don't know, with a plane crashing into the ocean and you get a fixed star like violence. I'm surprised more like debris wasn't found or bodies. I'm trying to figure out how the whole thing anyway.
How it just, well, what do you mean? Like how it just like went down?
Yeah. And nothing's found, with something like violence, I would almost expect like upon impact, like explosion or like completely busting. And then I would think you would see debris floating, right? Like in an area. So I don't know that it's just puzzling. I'm trying to figure out, I guess what I'm trying to say, I'm trying to be nice, but I'm trying to figure out how that aircraft enters the ocean. Because my guess is it's still mostly intact.
Yeah. I mean, that would be my guess too, considering they haven't, I mean, some stuff washed up, but it hasn't. Yeah, I would think, yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know. But you got fixed star like violence, which makes me think there's some kind of like pretty significant impact. Yeah, it's just puzzling.
Another theory that's floated around that could also tie in with violence is something like a hijacking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that, but that could be a violent thing. Again, that's just a theory. I'm not saying but
with a theory like hijacking, if we were looking at hijacking,
that would be like a terroristic kind of thing, and that per the rulership book, they say that's Pluto.
But you do have Pluto in the second house of like where you find abductions or you find robbery. I'm wondering if the 11th house would tie in with groups.
Yeah, I would think that it could. I would also bring Uranus into play for that too. Like, and also in the next chart that we'll show in just a minute, Pluto does move into the first.
Okay.
Which is at the last. You want me to go and pull that one?
Sure.
Okay. Let me okay, is it this one? Yes, should be. Okay, so this is when they last made contact.
Yeah, Pluto does move into the first house.
Yes.
And then Jupiter now is in the 7th house, being on an enemy's turn, right?
Yes. Which that's really one of those are like the major the big change. You know what I mean? Between those two charts, because there's only like
those are pretty big changes.
Yeah, they are.
Bringing the 6th house back into play, because we got the moon even more embedded in the 6th house now. A lot of times you see 6th house with runaway. Sometimes stalking. I don't know if this would be a stalking. But runaway, the plane did seem to turn around.
Yes.
And change directions.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of like, why did it do that? There's a question of why did that happen? So I can see why the hijacking theory does come up, though. You would think if it was some kind of terroristic thing, say, right? If it was, wouldn't somebody want to take credit for it?
Usually.
Don't they usually want to take credit for their bullshit?
It's usually, yeah, exactly. It's usually known pretty quickly most of the time.
Yeah. What you looking for?
I am looking, usually I associate like suffocation with like a Saturn. if there's a theory that the plane lost pressure,
that is a theory, I believe. I believe that is a.
yeah, suffocation, Mercury, Taurus, Saturn in that 12th. And we do have the descendant in Mercury, which is, in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury.
Yeah.
So that's to me is a pretty valid theory as well. But yeah, it's interesting. Being taken hostage or hijacked. I could see where you could pull some stuff from the chart that might show that.
Yeah, I can too. I just think it's interesting that if that were the case, no group has tried to claim they did it, which makes me wonder. Okay, this is where my mind kind of. Would there be some reason if the plane was hijacked that they wouldn't want anybody to know it was for some reason?
I don't think so, because being that everyone's presumed dead.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but that's usually their goal, terrorizing, and so I think they would. I would think if it was a hijacking, we would see this chart flip-flopped. I would think more like Sagittarius would be on the descendant.
Yeah, I can see that too.
So even though I can see some things that we can pull out, I don't know if I'm sold on that.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily either. It just, there are I don't know.
I can see why that's a theory, because that's first thing that happens. A plane changes direction, they lose communication, like that's classic signs. But you're right, no one's claiming it.
Yeah, and usually, with that kind of thing, some group or somebody wants to make it known that they did this, for whatever fucking reason they do shit they do.
Right.
Yeah.
We do have Uranus now in the 4th house here. Now I'm going from memory, but I know with some plane crash charts we've seen, Uranus is at play because it is kind of like a big accident and unexpected, predictable as well. It's in Aries, it's in kind of a violent sign, a very aggressive sign. This might be looking at just a plain accident.
Yeah. I do wonder what would make that plane go off course though.
I think if it did lose pressure and like people passed out, that plane would just keep going until it ran out of gas or until it was shot down, versus whichever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like, that's the weirdest to me. That's the thing that's kind of the strangest about, like, what would make it veer, and but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, if it's not being piloted.
Let me see, were there any fixed stars on this one? Oh, maybe I didn't write any down on this. Let me see. Okay, so the ascendant in this one is at 1705 Sagittarius. It is near a fixed star at 1758. Wastefulness and lost energy, perverted morals, success in evil deeds, Jupiter, which is still at, I don't think that was near anything. I might be wrong about that. Let me see. Oh yeah, it is. I'm like stupid. Okay. Jupiter was at 10 degrees in the other chart too. It's at 10 degrees in this one, just in different houses. It's close to 11 degrees, a fixed star at 11 degrees, 13 minutes of Cancer, which ties in with hunting, besieging towns, the revenge of princes, whatever the fuck that means, trouble, disgrace, sickness, loss of fortune, affliction.
What about, is there anything around that Mars, that 27 degrees Libra? Did we look at that? I don't think we looked at it.
No, we did
Okay.
not.
To bring Mars back in play.
No, no. There's one at 24:14 Libra, and then there's one at 3:09 Scorpio.
That is a pretty far. Okay. Just curious.
Yeah, they seem a little too far here. Let me see if there's anything on that descendant. The fixed star for Mercury would still be the same, but 1705. Okay, it's close to well, this sounds like a lovely one. Like I mean, actually lovely. It's it's at 1650 Gemini. It's closest to that one. Technical and artistic ability, inventiveness, humor, honors, riches, and happiness. So
wow.
which
I disagree, it's not funny.
Yeah, but like it's just kind of goofy that that's there, because like absolutely none of this is like good. So why the fuck is that there?
Maybe. No, I don't know. I'm trying to play with that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. I really don't know how that one fits in, but whatever.
Yeah. We'll just disregard that fixed star.
Do you have anything else that you want to say about this chart before we move over to part 2?
No, I think it is interesting that there's not a whole lot of time lapse between this and the last chart. We still have the same angles, but yet planets move, the houses, like it's a pretty different chart. So I think we're kind of getting a story here. No, let's go to mapping.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop sharing this now. All right, everybody. So this is part 1. Go check out part 2 on Brandy's channel, where we'll talk about, again, the mapping and the chart of when the media statement was made.
Yeah, we'll continue the discussion.
Yes, and thank you so much for wanting to do this one with me, coming back, wanting to do this.
Of course, thank you.
And I will, for the rest of y'all, I will see y'all later.